Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Now, the White House has just confirmed Donald Trump still believes millions voted illegally in the election, brushing aside all requests for concrete evidence. But just 4 days into his presidency, Mr. Trump is moving swiftly to cement his political agenda. Today, pushing ahead with 2 controversial oil pipelines, much to the dismay of environmentalists. And he fixed car makers in his sights again, too, demanding that they create more American jobs. Our international editor, Lindsay Hilsum, is in Washington. Lindsay.
Kathy, it's interesting how things niggle at Donald Trump. He just can't stop talking about this issue of the election. He won it, but of course Hillary Clinton won the popular vote by about 3 million votes. Last night he was meeting legislators from both sides of the House. He said, you know, there must have been between 3 and 5 million illegal aliens who voted. That's the only explanation for her winning the popular vote. Now, he said this several times before without providing any evidence. The Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, who is an ally of his, said, look, there's no evidence. Just stop talking about it. Lindsey Graham, he's another Republican senator. He used the phrase, knock this off. But today, the White House press secretary, Sean Spicer, was sent out, and he again had to defend this issue, even though he too doesn't seem to have any evidence.
The president does believe that. He has stated that before. I think he stated his concerns of voter fraud and people voting illegally during the campaign. And he continues to maintain that belief based on studies and evidence that people have presented to him.
But exactly what evidence? Speaker Ryan today said there's no evidence. The National Association of Secretaries of State say that they don't agree with the president's assessment. What evidence do you have?
As I said, I think the president has believed that for a while based on studies and information he has.
But in the White House today, there were many visitors not talking about that. The main topic of conversation was rolling back environmental protection. With a few strokes of the pen, President Trump began to dismantle President Obama's environmental legacy today. 5 executive orders will lift blocks on the Dakota Access and Keystone oil pipelines and slash environmental regulations.
We'll see if we can get that pipeline built. A lot of jobs, 28,000 jobs, great construction jobs.
The president is yet to explain how he arrived at that figure, nor at this vision of himself.
And I am, to a large extent, an environmentalist. I believe in it. I'm a big person when it comes to the environment. I've received awards on the environment.
Stop climate deniers!
Protesters might like to hear what awards. No one seems to have any record. They fear the Dakota oil pipeline would pollute the water supply, desecrate Native American land, and more broadly, promote the fossil fuel industry, accelerating climate change. But President Trump says his measures will boost the economy, and that's the priority. One of the new administration's first acts was to wipe all mention of climate change from the White House website. Staff at the Environmental Protection Agency have been told to freeze all grants to fund research, air quality monitoring and education. The man nominated to head the agency, Scott Pruitt, is a climate change skeptic.
I believe the ability to measure with precision the degree of human activity's impact on the climate is subject to more debate.
He previously sued the agency he'll soon lead. This morning, President Trump told leaders of the auto industry that environmental controls were just too onerous.
We will build our own pipeline. We will build our own pipes. That's what it has to do with, like we used to in the old days.
Good for employment, he says, but environmentalists fear what his agenda means for the future.
Low winds and traffic fumes are filling the skies with a thick layer of smog, sending air quality plunging and triggering pollution alerts in cities across the country. With hundreds of schools in areas which breach legal pollution limits, London's Mayor, Sadiq Khan, has proposed new measures including hedges to block out harmful fumes. But is that enough? Paul McNamara reports.
The fog's lifted a little today, It makes it easier to see whatever else is being pumped out into the air we breathe. Across the country, toxic air alerts have been issued. Yesterday morning, this primary school restricted the time its youngest children with the most vulnerable lungs were outside. Their concerns shared by parents at other schools across the capital to varying degrees.
My husband's got asthma and he's badly affected. The kids they complain about the smell, but other than that, we haven't noticed it.
It's not nice to breathe. I was coughing and then, my friend said that the air's being polluting, so I thought it was that.
Have you ever kept the kids indoors because you're worried about it?
No, not yet, but we have been talking about, getting rid of the car altogether or getting an electric car.
When the pollution gets bad, do you notice it at all?
No.
Not at all?
Never.
But this isn't an issue exclusive to London, although the capital did record the worst possible score of 10 out of 10 for air quality today. It's affecting large parts of the rest of the country too. This morning, pollution levels of 8 were recorded in the West Sussex village of Storrington and in Norwich. Oxford measured 7, and Bristol, Leicester and Leeds all measured 6, the level where adults should consider reducing strenuous physical activity, particularly outdoors. Well, pollution is nothing new, so why is this an issue right now? Well, first of all, it's cold, and that can always create problems for people with pre-existing conditions like asthma. But there's also very little wind at the moment, meaning that any pollution that is being created isn't being blown away. Ultimately, though, it'll take a lot more than a strong breeze to sort out Britain's poor air quality. Many of the vehicles on Britain's roads are diesel, and experts say that's what needs to be changed. It's a point that those able to effect change are making to anyone that will listen.
I want to get rid of the most poisonous cars from our streets.
Today, London's mayor announced funds to protect 50 schools, including planting hedges and installing air monitors that warn when children can't go outside. A good start, but campaigners say 3,000 schools across the country also need them.
We get information about UV levels so we can protect ourselves from sunburn. We ought to have information about air pollution levels. The damage that it's doing is severe. It can permanently damage children's lungs if air pollution levels are high, and we know it's having an effect on people with bronchitis and asthma. We should have access to that information.
Both campaigners and London's mayor are calling for a new, stricter Clean Air Act. Governments say they are committed to cutting harmful emissions and have pledged more than £2 billion since 2011 to increase the uptake of ultra-low emissions vehicles. Not that you may have guessed that from looking at Britain's roads.
Paul McNamara on London's filthy air.
I've been getting away with it all.